Well, hello and welcome to my latest video. I thought I'd do something a little bit different today, and you're going to say to yourself, what is that idiot doing now? Well, some of you may know from some of my other videos that I'm a big fan of the Turbo Trainer and I'm a big fan of Zwift. And even though I might make the occasional video making fun of Zwift and some of the people who are on Zwift, I think it's a brilliant thing. So I thought I'd show you a little bit of my setup and then perhaps a little bit of a ride on Zwift if you're not entirely familiar with it. And I also wanted to tell you a bit about the bike or the system that I'm using, because I'm actually using a watt bike. And let me just put that towel around my shoulders there. This is a watt bike, and if you're not familiar with what a watt bike is basically a stationary bicycle, but it's quite a nice one. Now, I think the first thing to say is the watt bike is pretty expensive. It's quite a substantial investment, but there are a few things to consider. If you spend a lot of money on a bike, and many people who are into cycling do spend a lot of money on a bike, and you go out and you ride it quite a lot. So if you use your turbo, or in this case a watt bike, quite a lot, well, the bang per buck, or the amount of money you spend in relation to the number of miles and the number of time you spend on it, is not necessarily that different. And I think that's the way to look at it. And if you use a watt bike throughout the winter months or the rainy months, and you use it for a number of years, and more to the point, if other members of your family use the watt bike, then that greatly increases the versatility of it. Now, many of you will be familiar with a standard turbo training on which you put your bike. And yes, you can switch bikes. You can put your spouse's bike, your son's bike, your daughter's bike, your grandparents' bike, whatever it is. You can switch them around. So yes, it is possible, but it's a little bit of a faff, and it's not quite so straightforward as it is to make the adjustments on the watt bike, which are very easily and swiftly done. The other thing is, if you have a very, very, very understanding spouse, I suppose they might let you get away with putting your bike and your turbo trainer in the living room or the study or the bedroom or whatever it is, if you have spare space to put it. But it doesn't look particularly nice. It does make a bit of a mess, and it does tend to leave bits of black rubber around the place. Yes, Nigel, not for the reasons that you think, because of the wear on the tyre. And even if you're using an off-wheel trainer like a Kicker or a Tax Neo or something like that, you're still likely to get a little bit of oil, a little bit of dirt spraying around. The watt bike, on the other hand, I'm not saying it's a beautiful piece of furniture, but you can have it in a dining room or a study, as I've got it, and it doesn't look too bad, and more to the point, it doesn't take up very much space. It's got quite a small footprint, whereas of course a bike and a turbo trainer has got quite a big footprint. Now, on this particular watt bike, or on my watt bike, by the way, I'm using this, which is an iPad, and in a moment I'll show you Zwift on the iPad. You can use a computer, you can use your phone, you can use an Apple TV, which a lot of people do. The watt bike, or the watt bike Atom, which is what this is, doesn't come with its own screen. It does come with this sort of stand here on which you can put an iPad or a laptop, depending whatever it is that you've got. If you've got an iPad, many people do have an iPad, it works perfectly on the iPad. The screen is big enough, the sound is good enough if you want. I tend to use separate sound because I like to listen to music, but the setup is all there. You've got these kind of tri-bar extensions, so you can get down like that. I don't find this particularly comfortable for any long period of time. That's partly because I'm not a time trialist, and therefore I'm not used to that position. I also find the way that I've got the watt bike set up, because my daughter used to use it as well, the reach on this is perhaps not quite as long as I should make it. And it's very easy to make the adjustment, I just haven't got around to doing it. Now, on the watt bike, you can use whatever pedals you want. You can use flat pedals, you can use toe clips, you can use SPD pedals, mountain bike pedals. I was using mountain bike pedals, and I've just changed to using my standard look pedals with my standard cycling shoes, because I find that a little bit more comfortable. I've also got a fan, which you can't see at the moment. If you're not in your garage with the door open, or you've got French doors or something like that which are open to the garden, you will need a fan. The fan I've got is a large one, but it's a pretty basic fan which I got from B&Q or Amazon, somewhere like that. And although it puts out a fairly strong rush of air, it's not particularly cold air. And so I do get quite warm on the watt bike because I am in my study. I do have the radiator turned off in here because it can get very hot. The watt bike is also sitting on a kind of rubber mat, and it's also sitting on the sort of wooden platform that the bike was delivered in. And that means it sits very firmly on the floor. I haven't got the fan on at the moment, and I'm not spinning the wheels, but I will do that in a little while so you can hear just how loud it is. If you've got the fan going at full blast, and if you've got the watt bike going at full blast, in other words you're turning the pedals pretty quickly, it does make quite a noise. I'm lucky this is a detached house. If you live in a flat and you've got sensitive neighbours, that may be an issue for you, but that's going to be an issue even with a standard turbo trainer. This has also got one of these kind of big sweat bands here to catch the sweat that comes down off my body and off my face. And I've got this headband on because one thing I really don't like is when the sweat runs down your face and it runs into your eyes. Now it still collects on my kind of cheekbones and runs down the face. I really don't like it, but there's not much you can do about it. I also wear a sweatband on my wrist, as you can see, and I'm wearing standard cycling gear. I'm wearing a pair of cycling shorts, and I'm wearing this fairly thin, I think it's a technical fabric shirt. I'm not quite sure what the make is. Actually, I think it's an Adidas kind of athletic shirt or something like that. But you will get hot, you will sweat, and if there's nobody looking and I've got the curtains closed and I'm not worried about my family coming into the room, I might even take my top off, but I generally keep my shorts on, at least when I'm on the bike. I've also have 2 energy bars here in this little slot that's available. I don't know why they're there because I never eat them. And I also have a water bottle here. This is filled with Watt Bike water, which you can get from the Watt Bike website. It's a little bit more expensive than ordinary water, but it tastes quite nice. What else is there to tell you? I don't think there's anything else to tell you about the Watt Bike setup. So the next thing to do is jump off the bike, rearrange the camera equipment, and then show you what Zwift actually looks like on the iPad, and then do a little bit of cycling. So don't go away. Alright, I've just started the ride. I've started Zwift. Because I've been on Zwift for quite a long time, and because I've done over 50,000 feet of climbing, I've got what's called the Tron bike, or the Zwift concept bike, and that is this rather pretty neon pink bike here that you can see. And I'm obviously riding the bike. That's my avatar, as it's called, and other riders are on the same course. I'm riding on the London course, just taking it easy as I warm up at the moment. So you can see lots of riders are passing me. Those people who are in their gyms, in their garages, in their studies, in their bedrooms, and they're riding their turbos or they're riding their watt bikes in the same way as I am. And because I'm following a particular training program at the moment, I've just gone through that kind of banner, and that means I should increase my wattage to what I've set in my training program. And if you're familiar with Zwift, you'll know that it's very easy to establish your own training programs. So that's basically how it works, and I get on my watt bike once or twice a day. Sometimes I ride on my own, sometimes I ride with one other person, sometimes I organise a group ride. So all these people who are on Zwift at the same time as I am, I don't know them, but one of the things I particularly like about Zwift is that social aspect, because you can be riding along, you end up riding beside somebody, you tend to ride at the same pace as them, you might go a bit ahead of them, they might go a bit ahead of you, and you don't know who they are, although you can see their names on the screen. You don't know where they are, they could be anywhere in the world, and you ride with them until one of you decides to speed up or slow down or stop or whatever it is. And that's one of the great advantages of Zwift, or its unique selling point, if you like. I'm only a little out of breath because I've been talking a lot, not because I'm cycling particularly hard at the moment. I'm only doing 130 watts. So you're not going to watch the whole of this ride, it's not that interesting, but I think that gives you a little taster of what it is. I've got the fan on, I've only got the fan on at number 2, so if I shut up for a moment you can hear how loud that is. And that sound you can hear there is the sound of the watt bike pedals turning and the sound of the fan itself. Obviously as I speed up on the bike and I speed up the pace of the fan, that noise will get louder. So hope you've enjoyed this little introduction to the watt bike and to Zwift and the system that I use. If you want to ride with me on Zwift, just leave your name in the comments down below and I'll include your name, and follow me on Zwift and we can organise a group ride together. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, it helps if you follow what we call British time, otherwise I'll end up riding in the middle of the night and I'm generally asleep at that time, being of a certain age. But I look forward to riding with you, look forward to sending you many more videos for you to enjoy, and in the meantime, as I always say, see you next time. Thanks for watching.